but the Colonial Jet...
Good morning. We're here. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Sorry we're late. It's Freedom Family Friday, but Steffi is in the house somewhat. We had to figure out a solution.
Well, we were down a camera, so we have to make do with what we have.
I thought I had cameras that would work that I could borrow, but they just don't work. They're just too old. So I have it on good authority, though, that we have a new camera on the way.
We have a very nice donor.
Yes, who stepped up and is helping us with our situation. So if Steffi looks kind of weird, it's the GoPro that I have set up.
It's Halloween. I'm just a vampire.
There we go.
That's all.
We thought that
costume.
Yeah, we thought we'd have the bonus baby cam today. We'll just have to bring Hazel on the set if we unlock it on Freedom Family Friday.
At least I got her to sleep. At first, I thought I wouldn't be able to be on.
Bro, we were struggling.
She was not sleeping, and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, rocking her to sleep, feeding her.
The last 24 hours have been nothing but pain. Nothing but pain. Liberty tonight was a little bit... Oh, Daniela.
What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, they did fine once they finally got everything going, but...
Yeah, I think they're hilarious, guys, honestly.
They're funny.
All the preliminary show stuff before the premiere, and I mean, they're really funny.
Yeah, when they're on, they're on. Yeah. Last night was obviously an anomaly. The struggle was real. And so Daniela is doing a great job, and she's going to just get better and better.
She got a lot of rants last night, text messages.
Yes, so...
like you said, it helps that she's a woman as well.
It does a little bit, yes.
If Brian and King Libertarian were women...
Imagine if I did
with
this...
big boobs, they would have been just fine.
Imagine with my skills and like blonde hair and big boobies, how like rich I would be. It'd be like... Yes. We'd be like...
Can you bless
me with something? We wouldn't even have to ask. Oh, God. Can you bless me with something?
I just need to be the dummy on camera, and then your voice can go through me.
That's what it is.
Like a photo of
You'll
me.
You'll be my little AI avatar.
I'll be like a ventriloquist doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
LDub78 says, Liberty tonight, guys, need a trial by fire, but I see their potential. Very true. They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just were.
We'll start somewhere for sure.
I had all kinds. Look at this. We still got technical problems today. You know what I mean? Perfect example. And I know how to fix all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
I remember the very first time I was on a stream was with you during your campaign, and I was so nervous. I was barely able to talk.
Yeah.
And I've really come a long way myself, so I can't judge anyone else.
Yeah. So as you can see, you're going to see on Steffi's camera the GoPro stuff in the top right-hand, top left-hand corner, but at least the camera doesn't turn off every 12 minutes like the other one that we were using. It has like a white box over her face. So it's, we've got to...
Somebody joked in the chat that I'm square. They said the camera's telling you that you're square. I'm a square person.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we've got Justin today. That's good. In 30 minutes now because...
Like at no time.
I know.
Well, we'll barely have any time to get to any topics.
Yes. Hey, aren't you glad, though, that you get to see yourself up on the screen today? I've got you pulled up on the...
Yes.
In the studio, we've got an extra monitor. Now she can actually see and hear the clips that we're going to play. And
I don't have to go close to you
exactly.
and like turn my eyes as much as I can to see what you're seeing.
Yes. Now, quick question. Did you see the white dudes for Kamala Harris ad, Stephanie? Did you see the
was that with the homosexual men?
Yeah.
There was this man like on a truck, and he had his hands placed very nicely.
Yes.
It looks like he drives a hybrid car, not a truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I did get a glimpse of that.
They spent $10 million to buy this White Dudes for Harris commercial that showed a bunch of like gay dudes.
What would cost all that money?
They're just to put it on the air, right? To put it on the air. So it's like so the White Dudes for Harris. Well, Donald Trump, and I guess I've never heard of the Alfred something dinner, whatever it is.
Alfred Hitchcock?
No. Oh. This is a good guess. Al Smith Memorial Foundation
He
thing.
must be
dinner.
someone influential.
It's Donald Trump, and he's talking in front of a big audience of his former buddies, the Democrats. Chuck Schumer, remember, he used to be a Democrat, New York Democrat. Looks like he's in New York. He roasted it. It was a roast.
Oh.
And Donald Trump was roasting them all to their face. I was like, this is hilarious. I've got the top 10 roast moments of Donald Trump from the roast last night. You didn't even see.
Roasts are very popular to
Al
raise
Smith
money.
dinner. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So roasts. I've got the best of the roast last night. You and I, we were completely focused on baby and Culturama and Liberty Tonight last night. It was a big night, and so we didn't even know that was going on until this morning. I woke up. Thankfully, I managed to grab the clips, grab the full roast as well as some of the highlights.
I kind of like reacting to things I've never seen before.
Here you go. You ready?
It's more genuine.
Here he is, Donald Trump.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris. Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
Well,
every one of them.
Bro.
Can I just say something? They don't have wives. They actually have husbands.
Okay, yes, true, Steffi. They're gay.
Yeah.
But still a good joke.
I know.
I mean, to say their face. And there's Chuck Schumer sitting there, like he's taken it, just like absolutely roasting. Here is a montage of what are the allegedly top 5 jokes from the Al Smith dinner.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris.
So pause, hold on. So Steph, you see this guy down here? Yeah. That's Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats.
Yeah. Why is he there?
Some kind of listen, I have no idea.
Donating money to Trump?
No, it may be some like reporters gaggle thing that they do once a year where they roast each other, and they apparently they decided to get all together. He's a threat to democracy. He's the next Adolf Hitler, but they've decided to sit down with the next Adolf Hitler and let them roast him. You know, like it's. I just think that's funny as hell.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris. Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about
dude, that is so good.
Smiling. I can't see his
There's a couple of times when he smiles, but it's like a painful smile.
Yeah.
It's like a painful smile. You could tell it's charity. Sign of Jonah tells us it's like a charity dinner. Okay.
It's charity for the government.
Well, no, they just invited they whoever runs the charity has deep pockets and deep connections. So has managed just to get, probably donates to both parties to get them there. Right.
It's probably a nonpartisan charity.
Yeah.
Their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
He knows it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure. Yes.
He's more wanted than RFK Jr. He's probably had more mistresses than RFK Jr. I would bet.
Trump?
Yeah.
No, actually,
so?
I would venture a guess that RFK Jr. actually has more than Trump.
Oh,
I think Trump probably had a lot, but I think that RFK, like the Kennedys are legendary. Like it's kind of like a P. Diddy party at the Kennedy.
It's just the name only.
Yeah, to some extent, right?
You could have a blanket over your face.
Trump had to earn it. The Kennedys are a dynasty. You know, the Trump created his dynasty. The Kennedys kind of floated on theirs. So all the Kennedy boys were able to float on their father and their
I would never want to be
reputation
in the Kennedy family, because then that would mean that I would die, because they have this curse on their family where like all of them die really early.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never want to even interact with that family, because they're cursed.
This race is childcare, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away.
Oh,
That's a
because
he cheated on her with the
he
nanny.
knocked up his nanny
Oh, was she pretty?
from an ex-wife. Probably
Was she a
not.
pretty nanny? Oh,
Why would she be pretty?
I mean,
Nanny,
there's some
that's
pretty
ille-
au pairs.
There are, but they're not allowed anymore to be pretty. They have to. The wives demand that they're ugly. So,
Oh,
but
my
you know how
goodness.
guys are. She doesn't have to be pretty,
Right.
for us guys. She just
Right.
has to. Just has to be warm enough.
Yeah.
You know,
doing her womanly duties.
you know,
with a large booty.
She
and
just
big boobs.
she just has to have a pulse,
Yeah.
essentially, and sometimes not even that.
And give him attention. That's the thing, is most of these men's wives don't give them any attention.
Yes.
Like Kamala Harris, she's such a girl boss. You know, like she's probably never satisfying her man.
Right.
So he's probably very lonely.
I love what he says. That's a nasty one. Just keep them away from the nannies.
Just keep them away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer.
That's a nasty one. He's so good.
I'm sure Trump has been nanny before.
We gotta get him back in the White House, man. You can't listen. Like clown or no, the fact is that Trump is very much a reflection of where we're at today in our society. Like the Democrats,
Yeah, he has humor at least.
exactly. They want to take us down the same path, but they want us to 1984, dull, gray, 2 minutes hate. Nobody has sex with anybody unless they're gay, and only gay sex will be legal.
I could see Kamala Harris saying we need to ban all nannies. Honestly,
Right? No nanny. Well, yeah, I can.
Yeah. And
she's got a reason to be upset.
Drag queens be the nannies. Mandatory drag queens for nannies.
She's got a reason to keep an eye on Doug Emhoff.
Oh yeah.
Here's the top joke, allegedly, according to Defiant L's. Take a listen.
Schumer is here looking very glum.
Chuck Schumer.
Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum.
Look at that little
But
fist
look on
pump
the
there.
bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Oh boy.
Bro!
He knows it's funny.
I don't know if we deserve to ask for Rumble Rant donations and to unlock the bonus content today, but we've got it if you feel like it.
Are we deserving?
Do we even have...
Do you like us?
We've only been live for 10 minutes on the Wake Up America show, but we do want to let you know that we do have bonus content and we do have a bonus baby, and the bonus baby camera is on my wife, but we will get the baby if we hit $100 by the end of the show.
Pay for all of the formula that I had to pump into her to get her to sleep so I could be on the camera.
Stephanie and I are working, busting our ass overtime, late nights. We got 2.5 hours of sleep last night, Liberty Tonight, and Culturama bringing you the Wake Up America show and 3 shows and a new libertarian network. Doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of a little bit of sacrifice. We don't ask for a whole lot. I think, $30, $60, $100. By the time we hit the end of the show, I think absolutely a show like this would be worth it. You can show us that it's worth it by either making a Rumble Rant donation like Latrell did, our homeboy.
Oh,
He's one of the brothers.
I like Latrell.
Yes, Trump is a great roast master, says L-Dub. Says, once Trump works the fries this Sunday, I'll have joined the toxic libertarians for Trump camp. Yes, awesome.
What
Good
is
for you.
this? What is-
Libertarians for Trump.
Oh, libertarians.
The toxic libertarians for Trump
We
camp.
actually have some merch.
We are
Libertarians for Trump.
we
at
do.
FortLibertyShop.com.
Yeah, we do have Libertarians for Trump merch. He says, thanks, Obama, by the way, for waking up more black men. I'm loving it. Hell yes. Hell yes. Thank you, guys.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise? Please.
Everyone
you
thought
suck it?
that we were late
What?
today because we were making a sex tape.
Oh, yeah, right. We wish. We
Yeah.
wish. That would have been nice.
Yeah, they were saying we're going on OnlyFans.
Oh, God. This morning was painful. Last night was painful. This morning's painful. We're in nothing but
We
pain.
might get desperate enough.
New parents, right? A dollar makes us holla. Thank you, Matt Unruly says, does the show delay mean the show goes on longer today, Matt? There's a baby here.
I mean,
We'll see. We got Justin coming up in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
My brother. And now it's time for, I won't even say, it's not even a million billion clips. It's like 500,000 clips. Speaking of Doug Emhoff.
Love clips.
I know. Doug Emhoff tells a story about his wife getting quite cross with him in a podcast. Take a listen.
You said that communication is key, but she couldn't communicate with you immediately that Joe Biden had stepped down, correct? You were busy in spin class, right?
That was right. So it was, I was in LA. It was during that weekend when all the planes were down because of the software glitch. So I had to spend an extra day in LA. I decided to go to a cycling class with some friends, and it was an hour class, and we were just chit chatting. I had my phone in the Secret Service car, so I didn't have my phone. And
Uh-huh.
then my friend's partner just showed me his phone with the letter from President Biden, and I'm like, gotta go, and just ran into the car, and there was my phone, literally, like you could feel the steam, 7 or 8 messages, all with, where are you? Call Kamala, and it was a 1 minute or less conversation, which started with, where the F were you? I need you right now, and basically get to work. And I did.
You run out sweaty? Are you wearing the tight biking shorts? Do you have those clackety-clack spikes on, the whole thing? Or
I try not to do the tight biking shorts, so I just do like the long old school, Nike basketball shorts, which probably aren't great for spin class. But I was drenched in sweat. I took the clackety clack shoes off, and the car wasn't exactly on the curb, so it was still a couple of 100 yards of old guy half running, trying to get to that car to jump on the phone and get in the mix.
Spin class.
Gay dudes and women and nannies.
It's typically, women.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking to someone the other day who said it's like 80% women in those classes.
Yeah.
He was not chit-chatting with his friends.
No, he was
in the locker room with a woman.
Oh, Steffi, allegedly.
Why was he
Allegedly,
sweating? Why was he
allegedly.
sweating so profusely?
He's in his basketball shorts. You know what you do when you go to a strip club? You know what you wear?
Basketball shorts?
Basketball shorts.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, easy access. That guy was caught red-handed right there.
I'm wearing basketball shorts right now, baby. Maybe we were doing a little OnlyFans beforehand. The Wake Up America show is brought to you in part by viewers and listeners like you. Thank you to everybody who's making Rumble Rant donations. Once we hit that $60 total, I'll unlock the bonus content for you. Let's just try and ramp it up and get her done and hit those Rumble Rants.
That just shows how Kamala, she makes her husband her biatch.
Yeah, exactly. Where are you? Right. He can't even have an hour for a spin class.
Slaps him around. She's like, get over here.
Get over here.
I need you. It's
right.
Like, can he not do his own thing and have his own life?
So,
Is that not okay?
So there were all these rumors that he slapped his ex-girlfriend, right, at some fancy party. But part of me thinks that maybe Kamala slaps him around a little bit too.
I think so. Oh, I bet so. Kamala probably has a temper on her.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot from her that you don't see. Well, speaking of white dudes for Harris, a little bit earlier, there's this little kind of liberal twink kid who's been making the rounds on social medias, and he considers himself to be white dudes for Harris. He kind of got famous recently because he debated like 10 conservatives in a row or something like that for some Jubilee channel or whatever. Yeah. Here he is, this young man. Thank you, Andy Opperman, for the bonus.
Andy.
Unlock.
And
we're at $41 towards the $60.
We pay you, Andy.
We can't.
You are just too nice.
Impossible. White dudes for Harris. Here is an example of a white dude for Harris talking about his use of the racial slur, the N-word with the hard R.
When I was 14, I slurred, and that the N-word was a part of my vocabulary. The R slur was a part of my vocabulary, is because that is caused by racist socialization and education that is absolutely deplorable. My perspective is what I did was wrong. 110%. It was gross. It was deplorable. I'm sad of the boy that I used to be, and I regrettable that I was ever like that. But where I stand now is after being exposed to information, knowledge, and education that I use to better myself, that I used to finally make the recognition that I shouldn't be saying these words. Sure. I then decide to turn around and I try to share that with as many people as possible. And in all reality, that is my motivation for doing what I do today. Point blank period. Said slurs for a very long time. In fact, I've openly talked about how I have used slurs in my past on my platform for like a year, because I think that is a very important point for education. The point is that we can change like the socialization of the youth. The point is that if I can benefit and change my perspective and my worldview to be more beneficial to those around me because of this education, so can other people.
Why are you laughing? Why is this funny?
I think this is so funny.
Why? That was a very deep response. I actually...
This is, by the way, has nothing to do with you, why I think it's funny. I just, like,
I think
I'm sure you're being sincere. It's just like it's very like I feel like I've seen so many of these apology videos, and it's just so funny to me because it's so like it's like okay, I got canceled. Now here's the script.
I'm gonna be
Let's
honest.
all
You're
do
just
better.
insane.
Okay, wait, hold on.
I'm just gonna be the first to say.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, first of all, let me just say, he just called somebody insane. Look at her. Look at her eye. Look at his eyes. See his eyes, Steffi, up there on the camera. He called her insane. Okay, so
He looks like the movie theater shooter guy.
yeah. Without being too explicit, I mean, I can tell when like a girl like is dry when she hears something.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
when she. Right. So what is the opposite of dry?
What?
Okay. So now we're talking about the opposite of wet, right? So here is a woman who is bone dry after listening to him.
I think this is so funny.
Why? That was a very deep response. I actually.
This is, by the way, this is has nothing to do with you. Why I think it's
Lie.
funny. I just like.
Dude.
I think
I'm sure you're being sincere.
She's trying to understand why it is that she has a desire to pull out a knife and cut that man's throat that she was just listening to right now, right?
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
I've seen so many of these apology videos, and it's just so funny to me because it's so like it's like okay, I got canceled. Now here's the script.
I'm gonna be honest. You're just insane.
Okay, wait, hold on.
I'm just gonna be the first to say.
Okay, hold on.
I love watching people get canceled. It's so funny.
Okay,
You could never do it to me.
Before we do that, I'm not defending the things that he said, but I will agree that this isn't the first case we've seen something like this.
I see people every day.
It's
The amount of online young influencers that are getting canceled for like using the N-word, whatever. It's just so funny because it's like the same script every time.
Okay, so
and it's just like you're just bending the knee to these people who are trying to cancel you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened before he gave his little speech about how he's a new man, but
he's a left lib.
I don't say the N-word. And I've communicated that to you. I am not a fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's funny when white people say it, other than Eminem.
I do.
Eminem gets a free pass because he's from the ghetto.
Can I tell you that I do think it's funny? I think it's really funny when people use the N-word because the context in which I hear people using the N-word is always on an Xbox Live chat, right? COD again, and they use it over and over and over again. And I find that to be quite hilarious, actually. I don't like it. I don't like watching videos from the 1960s of black dudes getting, chased by dogs in the streets,
right.
and get that N-word. You know what I mean? Like, I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy violence against black people and all that kind of stuff. But I do like singing rap lyrics. If you don't know, now you know, nigga.
It's in the context of a song, but if you're like referring to a black person as the N-word, like I've had, I know a family member that I had actually, who used the N-word to describe black people, and it really upset me.
Okay.
It bothered me because I know that there is racism in that person. So a lot of times racist people do use that word. So you have to know, is the person racist or not?
Well, it's like stereotypes. Stereotypes exist for a reason. Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of times they are true.
Yeah, a lot of times they are. They're based on some true information.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that you, like, whenever you meet an individual black person, do you always apply the stereotype to them? No. You give them an opportunity to be like, okay, I'm not going to steal your purse or throw you onto the subway tracks or stab you with a knife coming out of the door, like the Sydney Wilson mental health therapy woman who got shot by the Asian police officer, and Black Lives Matter uses her as a oh my God, this is an example of a racist incident against black people. You don't just jump onto all of the stereotypes, like, because there are black men who are like Thomas Sowell. There are black men like L-Dubs 78, Latrell. There's black men like Larry Sharp and all that kind of stuff, right? But I mean, it's there's this phenomenon, we call it the usual suspects a lot of times, and that comes out of stereotypes, right? So it's kind of like, don't believe your lying eyes, but I mean, like, why take chances sometimes with your safety and things like that? A lot of liberals, like, there was this woman who got raped, and because she didn't want to be racist, she let a dude into her building, and it was like, she's like, it's this left liberal chick, and then there was, and look at Anna Kasparian. And what's funny about her situation is that they were just homeless guys. They weren't even black guys that like sexually assaulted her. Oh. And the left it showed that the left was racist because they were assuming that the people who assaulted her were black, right? So like working on a default of stereotypes can get you in trouble.
That's true. And a lot of people who are racist and don't say the N-word, they're still racist. They're still stereotyping. So it's like, yeah, it doesn't make people innocent if they don't use the N-word, but I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. It would be like if somebody used the word kike all the time to refer to Jewish people. I'd be
Yes.
like, why are you doing that? That's
Well, that'd be an example of like, Nick Fuentes, Nazi,
Right.
white nationalist type who would use something like that. Like
if someone's
kike.
just driving along and just being like, those kikes, they're celebrating Hanukkah this
Has anybody
week,
ever called you a kike like in a
No,
hateful way?
never.
No?
No.
No?
I don't think
Kike?
this generation really uses that term. I've never heard it.
Shut up,
At
kike.
least at school or anything.
How dare
Yeah.
you?
Kike.
Yeah.
We didn't even have any Jews there were no Jews to bully at my school growing up. So there was nobody to be like, kike, right? So it doesn't have the same power, I feel, in the United States anyway, at least, as like N-word hard R, right? Like, it just doesn't.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. I mean, black people can say it, and I'm curious how L-dubs feel.
No, black people can't say it. No.
L-dubs, are you okay with white people saying the N-word aside from Eminem?
Probably context, right? So I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's the context, right? If you're like, if you're using it to like chase down a black person in the streets with a German Shepherd, fire hosing them and saying,
right,
I'm going to get you, N-words, right? Then that context is different than me being like, because if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
Right. That's
Or if I
just
go
being playful.
Or what I like to do is I like to say,
it's just white people trying to sound black, and they do a terrible job at it.
You know what I do a lot of times when I want to say the N-word, but I can't say it right in whatever situation I'm in, is I say nucka.
Oh, really?
Nucka. But you say it really fast.
Oh, okay.
And you say it really high pitched.
Yeah. Okay, I've never.
Everybody try it out there with me. Let's try to say we're going to say the N-word.
No, I can't do it.
You can say it.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not. You're not saying the N-word. You're saying nucka.
No.
Saying nucka. Bye YouTube. Yeah. No more YouTube. This is why we're a Rumble Locals community.
But yeah, I'm definitely not pure. I mean, I make stereotypical jokes all the time at home. So I'm not pure.
Ninja works as well. And Tyga says, LOL, AP doing that to your wife. I know, I'm evil.
Oh, no.
Little boy, you're going to hell.
Draw the line somewhere.
So, at Christmas, they drink eggnog. In the ghetto, they drink nignog.
Racist people in the chat this morning.
Blanco. You know what I like to say is Los Negros.
Oh,
that's what I always say. So me, I'm always like, whenever we see like, some undesirables in a certain situation, it might be like, beware of Los Negros. You know what I'm saying?
I also find it kind of distasteful when people are like colored people. I don't know. I'm just like, it just sounds silly. When someone's like, oh, that's a colored person.
Yes. Oh, colored person? That is weird.
Yeah.
That is weird. Yeah, colored person, and then they say POC, but people of color, right? It's okay to say POC.
Yeah.
You can say people of color, but if you say colored people, then it's just like you're chasing them down the street with a German
I'm
Shepherd.
Back in the 1960s. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get in big trouble. Good morning, Knuckles. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, my Knuckles. We're glad to have you here. Sign of Jonah says, AP, found your show on Rumble. It was the first day after being demonetized by YouTube. I felt bad for you. Well, we're glad you're here, bud.
I think we're monetized on YouTube again.
Not for long. Not for long. Keep talking like this. They're definitely going to turn this off. Looks like Stephanie's camera is about to die.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do in order to give it like a chance to power up for a little bit, and maybe we'll get it through the last hour without any problems. And we'll have hopefully a new camera next week. We believe. See, it's at 1% power.
What? It's plugged in.
It is, but it even still, it draws so much power that it's just, it can't do it. So I'm going to turn off your camera. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to, as a gift, I'm just going to give you guys the bonus content. Okay.
You all deserved it.
We're grateful if you keep donating, and obviously we appreciate it. If we hit $100 anyway, we are going to unlock the bonus baby for you guys. I hope you can see Hazel.
Way.
She's awake. Yeah. So you might get to see the bonus baby for free anyway, because we're barely staying alive over here this morning.
I might as well just take out my boob and breastfeed her on camera. I don't know what to do anymore, you guys.
How dare you?
So that you will have to miss, unfortunately, but we are going to go. We'll play the bonus content, little commercials. We'll be right back, guys. When we come back, we'll probably just come back with Justin. Sound good? All right, we'll be right back with Justin on Freedom Family Friday. Thanks for being understanding, guys, on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Nuckus.
Wake Up America show's bonus content. Today we consider how the New York Times DEI Wake Up is better late than never. It seems the New York Times is finally acknowledging a hard truth about DEI policies. These initiatives, aimed at fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion, often yield the opposite effect, leading to unintended negative outcomes. The University of Michigan serves as a prominent example. With the largest DEI bureaucracy among major public universities, it inadvertently nurtures a culture of grievance. This has heightened racial tensions and deepened divisions on campus, affecting overall morale. The campus atmosphere has reportedly deteriorated, becoming less inclusive. Students have fewer interactions with peers from different racial, religious, or political backgrounds, contrary to DEI's supposed goals. When every comment risks scrutiny through DEI's bureaucratic lens, individuals naturally retreat to familiar circles. The fear of being labeled as an oppressor or oppressed stifles genuine interaction and diversity. Ironically, DEI policies seem to harm those they intend to support. Minority students report diminished feelings of value, belonging, and personal growth since the university's DEI initiatives began. The negative impact of DEI extends beyond students. A 2022 survey revealed a decline in positive campus climate perceptions among students and faculty, undermining the sense of belonging. The media, particularly left-leaning outlets, have historically shied away from criticizing DEI. The Times' recent article could indicate a shift in this narrative. However, the New York Times is late in acknowledging these issues. Other voices have long criticized DEI as a costly and divisive endeavor that fails to deliver its promises. Legislative efforts against DEI have gained momentum. Many states have introduced measures to curb or eliminate DEI initiatives, reflecting growing public and political dissatisfaction. In the corporate world, giants like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla have significantly reduced or entirely dismantled their DEI departments. They recognize DEI as an expensive and polarizing strategy. The Times' awakening to DEI's flaws is a welcome development, albeit delayed. It could signal a turning point in addressing the fundamental issues with DEI policies. The hope is that this newfound awareness will catalyze broader reconsideration and reform of DEI practices across institutions. Ultimately, the aim should be to foster environments that genuinely promote diversity and inclusion without deepening divisions or fostering resentment. The Times article might inspire other media outlets to explore these complex dynamics and encourage more balanced discussions about DEI's real-world impact. As awareness grows, institutions might adopt more effective strategies that truly support diversity and inclusion, benefiting everyone involved. If this marks the beginning of a broader reassessment, it could eventually lead to the dismantling of ineffective DEI structures. The focus should shift towards creating meaningful change that aligns with the original ideals of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hopefully, this is a step towards bridging divides, fostering understanding, and building genuine community across differences. In conclusion, better late than never, the New York Times' recognition of DEI's flaws might just be what's needed to spark a more constructive dialogue.
By high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house, but hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At 4libertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. Or your candy. ap4libertyshop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at ap4libertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit ap4libertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit ap4liberty shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit ap4libertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
Good morning. Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Freedom Family Friday means my smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wifey, Steffi, is here, but not there. She's in studio taking care of that little baby. I hope you get to see her. My sweet little baby Hazel is in the studio, and she is awake, and she is kicking, and she is like, she's just going to be awake, and hopefully we'll get to see her and mommy in just a few. But Freedom Family Friday means we bring another Peterson on the set to save my ass, because otherwise I would be in big trouble. This is my big brother, Justin Peterson, joining us live.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Oh my God, Justin, I'm
if
dead.
You're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
I'm very happy. Matt Unruh just donated $100.
Wow.
He says, here's some money anyways, because we love you guys. Get some rest when you can. Parenthood is fun but hard. Yeah. Justin, last night, Liberty Tonight. The guys are funny when we can hear their microphones, but it's quite a challenge running your show.
My heart, like, I just was like, oh man. I was just
it's painful.
It's like I was running, I was roaring for a home run, and I was just like, oh man, but and then I was thinking to myself, I was because this was kind of getting towards my bedtime, and I was sitting there and I said, this is kind of like what live TV was in the 1950s, because I think about Betty White, and she was starting out her career in that medium of just being like, okay, we're doing it on the fly, we're doing the ads on the fly, we're doing it all on the fly, we've jumped off the cliff, and we're going to make the parachute on the way down.
Right. Leap and the net will appear, and sometimes it doesn't.
It's like you're going to fashion your parachute while you've already jumped off.
Yeah. My demeanor last night while everything was kind of like going to hell was that clip of Bill O'Reilly where he's like, I'll write it. There's no words there. And he goes, fuck it. We'll do it live. I'll write it. Yes. Do it live. That's how I was last night. Like, just turn on the microphone.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It is like a sports event though, because I just was, of course that I was lying in bed in my very relaxed apartment, and I was just like, fine. Austin is sweating blood right now is what I kept saying. I was like, Austin is over there, and I'm okay. I'm in bed.
You ain't got nothing to worry about. Austin decided to take this challenge on, and then that's what he gets.
Man.
Yeah. All right. So let's roast somebody else for once here, because my ass has been roasted for the last 24 hours. Donald Trump at the Al Smith dinner last night took the Democrats to task with this banger. Take a listen.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all, because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me. There's a group.
Justin.
So wasn't this the same event where Barack Obama was making fun of Trump, and that was the thing that made Trump want to run for president? Isn't this the same exact event?
I think so. It's like a roast or something like that. It's like a Catholic charity thing that they do, and all the Democrats and Republicans get together and they roast each other. Now it's Trump's turn.
Yeah, I was like, how the tables turn. Well, first of all, I would say I saw that ad, which by the way,
I was going to say, Justin, we haven't talked about that. The White Dudes for Harris ad with all of our musical theater buddies being manly man.
It was if you can't tell that those people were actors, you need help, because they're just like, I like to go on my truck and shoot my guns, and I'm like. Okay.
I give Kamala my full-throated endorsement.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll see you at the Ramrod later tonight, buddy.
I eat carburetors for breakfast.
But then the one guy sitting there with his hands on his hips, I'm like, no man sits like that.
Yeah, where it's like,
he's like, hi, on his truck, on the back bed of his truck, and he's sitting there with his hands on his hips. I'm like, bro,
So here's so I guess then let's
your
get
gayness can be seen from space. We can see you from space.
Elon Musk had to land that rocket. I couldn't land that rocket. Okay, so Justin, it's funny because you're a gay man, I'm a straight man, but we both have a background in musical theater. It's like it's a funny position for us to be in when we're looking at this blatant advertising towards men, masculine men, to try and get them to vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, the story here is that men aren't interested. Black, white dudes for Harris doesn't matter. As Barack Obama said, the brothers aren't showing up.
Correct.
To vote for her. And then he accused them of sexism, which is probably a really stupid thing to do because that assumes that they're stupid. You're saying that they're bigoted against Kamala Harris. Obama is essentially saying you black men are sexist against a woman. You won't vote for her because she's a woman, when maybe these black men have actual real socioeconomic factors that they feel like Biden and Harris haven't been addressing in the last 4 years, perhaps.
Right. That's what I think. I saw that interview. Was it on Dave Rubin's show? And it was talking about these guys in the not gas station or 7-Eleven or something. I don't know if you played that clip, but it's a bunch of black guys just standing there going, "We're not voting for her. We're not." I mean, one after, and it was of all ages. It wasn't just like one age demographic. It was a wild, mix of different ages of guys that were just being like, "We're not voting for her. No way, no way, no way." I was like, "Wow. Well, there you go."
Did you say that?
I don't like this idea. I don't like, first of all, I'm going to rant here.
Go ahead.
Me. I don't like this idea that because you have a particular immutable characteristic, you need to be forced teamed into doing things that you don't want to do. It makes me so angry. And that's why I hate identity politics, because it destroys the idea that people are individuals and they have their own minds and their own backgrounds and their own desires and their own needs. It puts everybody into a box and it says, because of your X characteristic, you have to vote for Y. And I'm like, I completely reject that. Nothing makes me angrier than that. Nothing makes me angrier because you know what's sexist? Do you know what's sexist? Telling people who they have to vote for because of their sex. That is sexist. Rather than based on their qualifications and on their merit. That is sexist. I'm sorry. You know what's homophobic? Telling gay people they have to vote for someone because they're gay. That is homophobic. You know what's racist? Telling someone they have to vote for someone based on the color of their skin. That is racist. Rant ended.
Take a listen to this.
Young black men in particular. Sometimes there's a trend line. I look at the polls all the time, and sometimes there's a trend line that I never noticed before and make me go, whoa. This is one of them, all right? This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already. And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points. That is about half the margin that Obama won them by back in November of 2012.
So here's the gist. In 2012, Obama, the margin of black men 18 to 44 voting for Obama was 81 points over Romney. In 2016, Hillary Clinton, 63 points. Okay. So still a good margin of them voting for the Democrat candidate. That's a woman. Joe Biden, 53 points. Kamala Harris, 41 points. So from 2012 to 2024, the percent margin of black men voting for Democrats has dropped from 81 to 41. And that includes men and women candidates for president of the United States. So that blows the whole sexist argument out the window. Maybe there's something else going on, Justin.
Maybe there is. Maybe the promises of the Democratic Party are basically to not. And people have decided, you know what, this isn't helping me. I've been sold a bill of goods that I'm supposed to vote for these people, and I'm not getting any of the deliverables set from these candidates that have told me what they're going to do and how they're going to help me in my life. They're not. And can I tell you what the number one issue that I saw in these guys that were being interviewed in this grocery store? The number one issue for them was immigration. That was their number one immigration, was because so many of those immigrants were taking those people's jobs. Mm-hmm. Those black men's jobs who do some of those that work, labor, manual labor, or different things like that. They were taking their jobs, and the black men were like, "This is affecting our community," and the government isn't doing anything about it. And I'm like, Well,
it's
there comes a time when you're going to let someone slap you in the face for so long, and then you're going to finally say, you know what? I don't think I want you to slap me in my face anymore. I think I'm done. I think this is an abusive relationship, and I'm going to walk out the door. Bye. This is happening a lot, Austin.
Love it. I love it. Well, or maybe she's just not likable. Here she is at a rally last night.
Stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again. Never again.
Like it's very angry. I mean, the Democrats seem to me just fueled they're more fueled by vengeance than they are in community building or.
All that I get from this Democratic campaign is this: we don't like Trump. That's all I hear. I don't hear policies. I don't hear tax incentives for small businesses. I don't hear anything of a plan that's a good, robust thing that's going to get Americans to work. I don't hear anything about stimulating our economies and our cities, getting healthcare improved. I don't hear any about that. I just hear, we're not Trump. Vote for us. Like that is the dumbest room temperature IQ platform you could ever have for candidates. People who use their brains, people who actually use their brains, will look at this and go, this isn't doing anything for anyone. And you can't run on just saying, well, we're not him and I don't like him. I saw that Kamala interview with Brett Baer, right? And it was just like, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this. I'm like, you know what? Y'all need to just stop. You need to get off that horse because that horse is, that horse is dead.
That dog don't hunt, as they say.
That dog don't hunt no more. Yes.
Thanks to Matt Unruh, Andy Opperman, Quest Fanning Luttrell, and all of our other friends who have made contributions this morning. We've unlocked the bonus baby. That means that we raised over $100 on the live stream today, which is fantastic. Thank you. Soothes the weary soul, soothes the savage beast. And speaking of savage beasts, my wife, Stephanie, here.
You guys just missed her spewing out formula.
There she is.
The perfect fail.
There she is. I'm going to try and adjust your camera on the fly here. Hold on while I do this here.
I changed her. I fed her. She's just got more energy in the mornings now. She's not a newborn anymore. She's going to be 3 months this coming week.
Here we go. Beautiful baby Hazel Rose.
She's changing and growing.
Oh.
Yeah, she's definitely vocalizing a lot more now. We hear her cooing, and it almost seems like she's trying to talk.
Yeah, she's like, hoo, hoo. She's like, starting to vocalize a little bit. And like, she's like, I make her smile a lot. I like tickle her knees and she likes it when I tickle her knees. And then she kind of like goes, and I'm just kind of like, oh, here comes the laughter. It's gotta be some laughs.
Yeah, she laughs a lot. She smiles a lot. She's able to grab things. She's a lot more aware of her surroundings, so she'll look around, she'll interact with things. She was staring at her little baby Einstein under the sea toy for like over an hour yesterday. I also I have this star projector on the ceiling and she loved that.
Oh, yeah.
So she's just more amazed by things now and she's actually processing them.
Yeah, you can tell. It's a beautiful thing and we're so thankful to be parents and couldn't ask for a better uncle.
Well, now the question becomes, the nice part is that she's got a job already. You know what I mean? She's got a job. She's gainfully employed on Fridays.
Here, let me put my headphones on.
She's got a job. She's gainfully employed, Justin's saying.
She's gainfully employed. I guess, my question is, is she going to do her taxes next year?
Yeah,
right?
She's going to end up being a streamer.
Income. Right?
Well, what was it? You said babies can make like $15,000 a year and it's not taxed or something?
Mm-hmm.
It's something about like child actors can make so much a year.
Oh, yeah. There's a certain amount of like money they can make without being taxed if you're young. Yeah. Because I remember you don't have to file income taxes until you're 18 and unless you make like millions of dollars, in which case, you do have to pay taxes. But that's what it is. That's what it is.
I'm just glad that all three of y'all have jobs.
Yeah, we do. We do. I put them to work. Hey, listen, you want to be part of my family? You're going to work. That's what it is.
She helps my therapy clients. She does baby therapy with them. I'm like feeding her on camera while I'm doing therapy.
Yeah, in about 10 years, she'll have like an unboxing YouTube channel for like toys that she'll have like millions of views and stuff. You know what I mean?
But not for nothing. Do you know some of the most successful YouTube channels are those channels that are like toy channels?
Oh,
they make like they're some of the highest earning channels on YouTube are toy channels.
Yeah, you know what the scary part about, not to take it down a dark path, is most of their followers are adult men. You know?
You had to go there.
It's true.
Yeah, like there was this, didn't we talk about this dancer girl?
Like the dancer girls, yes.
Was
the little Jean
her to post photos.
Yeah, the little JonBenet Ramseys of this world. You know, the dance moms. They make Instagrams for their little girls and stuff, and they realize when they see the data, the analytics, that it's all kind of, creepy.
God, please, no.
I mean, it's inevitable.
Don't put your daughter on the stage. Don't put your daughter on the stream. Don't put your daughter on the stream.
You can't police who looks.
What was the number one? This is a random fact that I came up with last week. So I came across the number one search for prawn or corn in Missouri. It was like, what was it?
It's
it was like
some kind of weird.
Yes,
it's some kind of weird repress fetish thing.
What is going on in Missouri that you guys are all looking up on this particular topic?
It was the Pornhub, the Pornhub searches, and like Missouri's number one was some debauched. Was it? It wasn't.
What?
It wasn't like bestiality or
Probably
something. Probably
stepsister.
Right?
It was just like
stepsisters. Oh, stepsister.
No, it was something weird. I was like, what is,
Speaking of weird and weird close to home, Justin, and when I say close to home, I mean Massachusetts. Here's your senator in a debate this week.
Uh-oh.
To go after them on overdraft fees, where folks like JP Morgan Chase were making more than $1 billion a year off people who were struggling making it day to day. I'm in those funds. Crypto ought to have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
Briefly, I wish Senator Warren would attack inflation the way she attacks crypto. I wish she would attack securing the border the way she's focused on crypto. You know, she's so focused on crypto, she had the CEO of JP Morgan Chase available for questioning, and they had financed the largest child sex trafficking operation in history with Jeffrey Epstein. And you know, Senator Warren didn't ask a single question. She wanted to talk about crypto because she's so hyper-focused. Now, I know that because I was raped as a child for a period of 2 years, I might be a little more sensitive to those child rape victims. But I want to ask Senator Warren, why would you not ask one question? JP Morgan Chase settled for $290 million to these rape victims. They had to settle with the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Senator Warren doesn't ask a question. You want to know why? Because a former Democrat president's involved, because her donors are involved, because people that she knows are involved. Again, loyalty to an agenda, loyalty to a party. I come in and I want transparency on everything. I'd like her to answer the question on behalf of all those rape victims, though.
Bro, what is going on? What is going on?
He just owned her.
Oh my God, dude. Justin, I'm guessing, Justin, that you did not watch the senatorial debate in your state.
I am trying to build a business over here. I don't have time.
You need to build that into your schedule.
Yeah, so
there's time for everything. You just have to put it in your schedule.
Legalese
I'll send you my schedule and you can look at it.
Legalese asks, what the F? This guy was raped by a bank? That's horrific.
Oh my goodness.
Justin.
I think all the hair on my face just got singed off. I think there was like the explosion was just like so intense that all of my facial hair just like got melted off. Like,
I guess we're just never going to, there's a reason why we're not going to find out Jeffrey Epstein's client list, right? No. There's a reason why, right? These people who are so wealthy and so powerful, Justin. I mean, you live in a big city, right? The debauchery there is, unchecked, right? The things that,
just in the streets
to some extent. To some extent. I mean, I lived in New York and DC. I've seen some shit. Okay. And it gets pretty nasty and I never saw child stuff, but you can imagine that if people who are in this like eyes wide shut, some of these rich and powerful people, some of the parties that I've gone to, like it's not too much of a stretch to think that some of these people, if they would do, cocaine off of stripper's butt, you know what I mean, or whatever, that they would go
coke in the
further or
bathroom
something.
and all that kind of stuff.
Oh
You're
yeah,
just going,
always,
"Where am
right?
I?"
Yeah. Good
No,
stuff.
I just grew up a good Christian boy. I didn't go to any of those. I didn't go to those parties. You know,
Hazel
I
is
didn't
never
do any of
going
that.
to Epstein Island.
Hazel's
No,
not
but
going
you know
anywhere
what's-
near Epstein Island.
What's funny about this is that it seems like all of the pent up feeling that everyone was having about Epstein is now getting directed onto P. Diddy, right? Because now P. Diddy is the new scapegoat for all of this, because he was doing, well, maybe
The Diddy
similar
parties.
stuff. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Did he go to Epstein
And
Island?
He had his own Epstein Island.
He had his
Right.
own, like basically, he had 100 tubes of lube and baby oil in his house.
It was enough to like fill up an aquarium full of
Yeah, it was like
baby oil.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they called them the freak offs.
He could be on that show, Extreme Prepper. He's like ready for the apocalypse, you know?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and actually,
Stay lubricated.
he would use all that in like one session.
But maybe he was with postmenopausal women. 'cause
Okay.
They need that.
No, they weren't postmenopause. They were very, very pre. Cecilia H says, look how alert baby Hazel is. She's so beautiful, AP and Steffi. I mean, I say to all babies, but she still is gorgeous. Thank you.
She just had a bath last night.
Yes.
We love baths.
She's going to see Grandpa today. Yes.
She's meeting him for the very first time. My dad.
She's meeting Steffi's dad today for the first time ever. So, yeah, we're all excited about that. We're going to have a beautiful weekend here, and sometime in there, we might squeeze in a little bit of sleep. But thank you to Cecilia for your $10 donation. We'll use that to buy some formula.
Thanks, Cecilia.
Formula is like, what, $60 a box? Is that what it is?
Well, we get the cheaper kind now, so I think it's like $30 to $40
There
a
we go.
box.
That's
Yeah, we
right.
get the generic.
There it is.
We
Even
don't
if-
do Similac or Enfamil.
We like to have the one with heavy metals, right? Get her acquainted to taking in like aluminum, barium, formaldehyde,
She has
microplastics.
To do,
We
she
got to get
has
that
do
one. And thank you, Justin.
sensitive. She has to do sensitive because she spits up a lot and gets gas.
I mean, I
That's
got
right.
microplastics in my bools.
In your
I mean, I
bools?
guess
She does drink out of plastic bottles, so that's probably not good.
Can you bless me with
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
What?
Fair trade.
I think so too. If you're enjoying the Wake Up America show, do click the like button. Last I checked, we were #1 on X. We're dominating in the mornings. Last I checked. Now the Bitcoin boys, sometimes they come in and they take the top spot. It's hard to beat them, but they are #1, 5,100. Congratulations to the moon, the Bitcoin boys. And we are #2 over there with 2,300 people watching the show.
Bitcoin people talk about all day. Are they just like looking at a graph of Bitcoin?
You know what? You're not really supposed to do this, but I'll tell you what. I'll do him a favor right here. I'll pull up the stream, and Justin will be able to hear him. You'll be able to see him. And here's what the #1 show. This is what they're talking about. There we go. And now I'll turn on the audio so you can hear them. This is what they're talking about.
Is that Bitcoin is going up. That is the only thing I know for sure.
That's it.
With
Bitcoin's going up.
99% of my entire soul and blood is that Bitcoin is going a lot higher. And we have that edge compared to everyone else in the world. We know that something is going to happen before it actually
They get
happens.
3 dudes,
So
and it's
not-
the moon is their account. Looks like they got 1.3 million followers. Well, congrats, guys.
Wow. I mean,
Close to them is kind of cool.
He just said nothing that I didn't know.
No, yeah,
He's like,
Bitcoin is going up.
Everyone always says Bitcoin is going up.
Until it's going down, and then they're like, "It's going down." But a lot of people are into Bitcoin. A lot of people are into Bitcoin, and I'm not a Bitcoin hater.
Can't stand people saying the obvious. It bores me way too much.
Well, here's the thing: a lot of people have a lot of money invested into it, so that's why these guys, are going to get a lot of attention. But they've gotten 1.3 million followers on X, and these guys are Forbes 30 under 30, blah blah blah. So based in the United Arab Emirates. So these are like Saudi Arabian guys.
Oh, my
Interesting.
goodness.
Okay, so there you go. What's fascinating though is these guys, they're huge. It takes them an army, Justin, to do what I can do with only a handful of people.
I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, you're the one-man band, because I was thinking about this week of the org chart of my business, and I'm like, I get so in the weeds with like being a teacher, right? But there are other people employed by myself that are me that I often don't pay attention to. It's like you have your social, your content creator, you've got your CEO, you've got your marketing guy, you've got your customer service person, and it's all one person, right? It's all one person. I'm like, you're punching all the buttons over there. It's like literally you're punching the buttons over there.
Oh yeah, there's probably maybe 150, 175 different buttons here that I manage in the mornings, and like twisting and turning, and that's why we got to be forgiving of our Liberty Tonight boys last night. They were doing the best they could, and there's so many things that can go wrong, not just on the buttons out here, but on the software side of things, and so it's like, dude, anything can go wrong.
You did a year ago, last year, 2 years ago, when you had me do your show for like a week. I was like, people don't know. Like, it's one thing to stand on a stage and be like, here I am, I'm living, you can see me, I'm controlling, here I am. And it's another thing when you're dependent on technology to be the means whereby you're getting something done. It's
right, and it's live. It's live, so everybody's watching. Live. So when you screw up, everybody's just sitting there looking at you like you're naked. And
I had the same feeling when I used to schedule. I used to be an admin, and I would schedule these transatlantic, video calls that would set up, and then the technology would go down. And I would just be sitting there, literally having diarrhea into my pants because I was like, there was like nothing I could do. Like, you're just so powerless to do anything. You're just like, I think it's supposed to go like this. And then everyone in the room is looking at you like, well, yeah, can you fix it? And I'm like, I'm trying.
Can I literally like go down to the power plant or like the internet company and tell them to fix their stuff? No. But everybody will look at you like it's your fault. And that's what it is. But this is the price we pay. And, I'm taking a risk, a gamble on fame and fortune, and hoping that one day my podcast network, it will bring me vast quantities of cash that I can use to reinvest in my creative projects like documentaries and movies. And everybody knows what my stated intentions and my goals are with this one. And it's just what I've been watching in almost sent you this video the other day in podcast marketing is somebody did they showed where this one podcast, it was actually two podcasts, and they don't have a lot of followers, they don't have a lot of listeners, but because they target their audience so effectively and they create sales and products and things, they make like $1 million a year from a small podcast, right? And so, but they sell like packages of like that are $8,000 a year and things like that.
Can I tell you what that's all about? That's all about knowing what your ideal client is.
Right.
So many people sell stuff and they don't become successful because they don't know who they're selling to. They don't know
market
how to
research.
Because people will throw marketing money on the wall and just be like, well, just to send out an ad. And it's like, and then you don't get any return on that money spend. And it's like, if you were more intentional about your marketing strategies and like, who is it that exactly that I'm looking for and where are they and how do I find them? You will sell. You will sell. But if you're selling to somebody who's not interested in buying what your business is doing, they're never gonna buy. There are some people that are just never gonna buy. So don't spend marketing money on people that would never buy stuff in the first place.
Right. And this is a great way for me to segue very briefly. We do have our own merchandise shop at forlibertyshop.com. And if you haven't seen it, please do. Cecilia is like, oh, I see everything and I want everything. And she buys everything and we appreciate it. Culturama collection is expanding. Liberty Tonight collection will expand as well. Our delicious coffee. I don't know if you've tried any of it, Justin. Have we gotten you a box of coffee yet from Founding Flavors? Okay. I was going to say. Okay, good.
So because it's so premium, I don't drink it all. So I like, I drink.
You ration it out. I know a lot of people do that. But we have all American custom metal signs, phone cases, footwear, drinkware. I mean, the amount of products that we have are nearly endless. Beautiful T-shirts, Make Halloween Great Again shirts, taxes, Make America Goth Again. The MAGA bullet hole hat, which is an AP original. Nobody else has a MAGA hat with bullet holes in it, like our Lord and Savior Donald Trump.
It's very symbolic.
From now on, it's going to be America first, okay? America first.
So head over to forlibertyshop.com, get your exclusive MAGA bullet hole hat or a dark MAGA hat this morning, and we'd be very grateful. So selling, a lot of people are afraid to sell. They don't offer a product. They'll do it I'll be like, I hope I get an advertiser. And it's kind of like, listen, I can't wait around for some, a new gold company to contact me every few months and hope that that's going to work. I got to bust my ass and make sure that this show is monetized, and then 2 new shows so that I'm making money when I'm not doing, when I'm live, because we sell the most products, we make the most money, we get the most subscribers when I'm live. When I'm not live, I'm basically, not earning money unless I'm writing my op-eds, doing other things. So my hope is that with a 12-hour a day live streaming network that I can manage, that we create significant chunks of revenue that I can then use to sink into my creative projects, which is, without getting too much into the weeds on this kind of stuff, Stephanie and I have been talking about lately, like all these sort of, political documentaries and movies I want to make, but also some non-political things that I would like, obviously I wasn't financially empowered or, from a network perspective, empowered to make the kind of movies that I wanted to make when I was a young man, Justin. But as an older man, a wiser man with more experience and knowledge, I think I could write, like I used to write plays. I could write screenplays. I could write good screenplays like I used to. And I think I could really tell some incredible stories. So I'm hoping that happens. But I don't want to go beg some rich man for $1 million and tell him, here's everything. Oh, yeah. And then he'll be like, just put more tits in it. It just needs more tits. And then that'll be a great movie. And be like, I'm trying to tell a story here. So anyways, but
I was reading an essay yesterday. I'm reading this really great book right now. And it's talking about how people view things. And a businessman, a franchise guy would look at McDonald's and go, that McDonald's is the product, right? But the technician, the person who's making the hamburgers, they think that the hamburger is the product. And that's a problem of perspective, right? So it's like the technical person who does the work often thinks, oh, the hamburger is the thing that I'm selling. When in reality, the entrepreneur looks at it and goes, that business, that thing is the product. That business is the product. So that's been like a real game changer for me to think about in terms of my own life and work,
Well, did you see the McDonald's movie, the one about Ray Kroc, and it's the brothers, and that the real product was actually the land, the real estate. McDonald's was actually a real estate company and not a hamburger company.
I didn't know that. I got to watch that.
Oh, you got to watch it with who's the guy, the Beetlejuice actor?
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah, and he plays Ray Kroc.
The movie,
the founder.
I'll watch it. Yeah,
you watch it.
It's on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi.
Go watch The Founder, because the fascinating thing, not spoiler alert, is that what they realize is that they have all of this real estate and they're paying all these fees and stuff. What they need to do is just franchise it out, and they buy the real estate, and the McDonald's franchise owner leases the real estate from them, and they sell the hamburgers and cheeseburgers and fries and all that kind of stuff.
What's amazing to me about that McDonald's franchise model too is that the design of the franchise is set up so that ordinary people can go in and do the job. It doesn't require extraordinary people. In other words, McDonald's understands that what it's selling in its franchises is a pre-made product, which is a McDonald's store. And so that's why their franchise owners, they go through this whole hamburger university training where they basically teach them how to efficiently run the store. But it kind of runs itself because McDonald's has figured out all of those wheels and buttons and everything. But that was an interesting thing to me too, because McDonald's doesn't hire exceptional people because they don't have to, because the business structure and the way McDonald's has been made is that it can be run without exceptionally, Harvard lawyers and doctors and whatever working in the store. It's designed to run on a minimum amount of skill.
Yeah, branding takes an average product and turns it into an amazing product. Like, look at handbags, for example, like Kate Spade. Kate Spade bags are nothing without the label. I mean, they look the same as a bag that you would get at Kmart. Well, Kmart doesn't exist anymore. Or Walmart, basically. If you put a Kate Spade logo on there, it's going to sell really quickly, just because of the name.
When you go to Chinatown in New York City, they'll sell you all those knockoff bags and it's the label that they put on the thing.
Yeah,
it's the thing that makes you think, oh, that's really a Gucci bag, or that's really a Prada bag.
I want to chase this discussion. This is a great conversation. We're going to go down this rabbit hole. We're going to talk about entrepreneurialism. This has been a conversation Justin and I have been having. So I've been an entrepreneur for 13 years. about, give or take. And for those who are tuning in right now, you're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. I am Austin Peterson. This is my lovely wife, Stephanie, with our baby Hazel, who's 3 months old.
What's keeping her attention?
What?
It's these screens in the back.
Oh, yeah, she's loving
She
them.
likes to watch them. So these are very kid friendly. So if you have a baby that won't pay attention, just make them watch
There you
these
go.
screens.
Give them lots of screen time and then don't let them look at anything else. My brother, Justin Peterson, here from Boston. We're going to talk a little bit about business, owning your business. If you ever thought about starting your own business, it's surprisingly easy to start a business. Right, a lot of people think it might be extremely complicated, depending on what state you live in. If it's California,
it is complicated.
No,
if you do it the legally correct way, it is complicated.
I went to LegalZoom.com and signed up for my LLC and set up everything through LegalZoom.
But if you did it on your own without LegalZoom, it is complicated.
I'm gonna be honest.
All the steps.
I'm gonna be honest though. There is some part of entrepreneurialism that is really just moving fast and breaking things. This is advanced strategy, but in terms of not asking for permission, do I have the right code for this and set up for that? And is the Secretary of State going to kiss my baby at the wedding and it's okay to move? No, just start moving product, right? Pay your taxes and keep it, as best you can. We're all operating in the dark there, but at the end of the day, get out there and start your business, formulate your LLC or what have you, your corporation, and just start the business. And then 13 years later, here I am, But Stephanie, you have a lot to say, it looks like.
I'm just saying that's very true. The successful entrepreneurs are not afraid to break the rules. And the unsuccessful ones like me, I had an Etsy business many years ago. I basically did not value my product how it should be valued, and I lost money, and I was way too into all the legal stuff, and I spent all this money to file legal paperwork. So yet again, I made no profit.
We don't value.
Don't be like me,
Justin. You know this. It's hard to value your product. I mean, you are a voice teacher, a vocal coach, right? You also offer other products like your Substack, right, and subscriptions to that, and you're starting to monetize your model in that fashion, right? But it can be difficult. When I first started selling T-shirts, for example, in my shop, I was like, can I really charge that for this T-shirt? Would people really buy it? Right. But the fact of the matter is that with all of the fees and the taxes and the shipping, and by the time you pay this guy and that guy and the supplier, by the time you get down to it, the money that you have left over, the margin is usually not what you would expect, right? And there's ways to reduce that and reduce your prices. But the fact of the matter is, Justin, I can't sell cheap coffee to lots of people. I have to sell expensive, high quality coffee to wealthier people, to fewer people, because otherwise I can't compete with Amazon and Walmart. Stan got mad at me. He's like, can't buy your coffee. I can get it for $5 a bag at Hy-Vee. I'm like, well, you have to drink your $5 a bag Hy-Vee coffee, but once you taste mine,
Also, I'm going to come back to the argument I was making earlier, which is that Stan is not your client.
Right.
Stan is one of their dad's friends.
Yeah.
So you all know out there in the audience. They're like, who's Stan?
When people say to me, I can't afford your services, then I go, great, you're not my client. Because the people that are my clients will pay my fee. They see the value in what I'm selling and they will buy it. And it's my job. It's my job to make sure that people see the value as the business owner.
Yeah, to market it appropriately. Right. And my coffee, for example, Founding Flavors, is premium. And when you actually compare me to other premium brands, my coffee price is actually fairly competitive compared to people who offer premium coffee online. So there is that. But there is also the fact that a lot of price, like the stock market, for example, the pricing is something a lot of people don't understand, which is why people are always like, oh, let the president bring the gas prices down. Or it's like, or they're angry at price gougers, for example. They're like, I can't believe they're selling generators for that expensive. People need generators, so it should be cheap, right? But they just don't understand how prices are signals and how they tell people go
like minimum wage or tips.
Yes.
This is the big argument we're having right now in Massachusetts because there's this thing about tipping coming down. And, one of the restaurants in Boston was like, we're going to have to raise our prices 100% if this thing goes by, basically scaring everybody, fear-mongering everybody about prices. And I'm like, this is, people don't, Austin, you and I have talked about this. People don't do the numbers. You know what I mean?
They don't.
Like, people don't understand. And when you are a person who is not a business owner, you have one person inside of you. You don't have two. You are three. All businesses run with three people. Even if those three people are in one person, you have your entrepreneur, your CEO, you have your, you know, your visioner, you have your office manager, you have your management person who runs the business, and then you have your technician, and that's the person who's doing the work, right? So for me in my voice studio, there's the CEO, there's the office manager who's handling all of the business of scheduling and all that, and then there's the technician who's showing up. Now, for a lot of people, when they come out of school, the only thing they are is a technician. That's all they've been trained to do, is be a technician. They haven't been trained to manage anything, and they haven't been trained to have any vision about anything. We're all trained, and our education system is trained to make us all worker bees, not to make us business owners.
That was deliberate, but that's the deliberate, by the way. Woodrow Wilson actually was famous for saying that that the educational system in the United States is set up to create two classes of people. One, that we want to go to higher education and go to college and get degrees and to be intellectuals and to take places in government. And then another underclass of people who are the workers, the laborers, and all that kind of stuff. So that there is this strata between the two of them, between these two classes. That is what our Luke Sacker named it, the Prussian model, correct? Yes. And so people aren't equipped to be entrepreneurs, right? They're fearful of entrepreneurialism, and usually their teachers are socialists in some way, or like, you know, be like me, be a counselor or whatever.
Here's what I want to add to what you're saying. I don't know. I'm not much of a conspiracy person. You know, I kind of I want to live in the real, rational, you know, kind of world as best I can. But I will say this: so many performers become socialists because they were never taught in the first place how to be capitalists. They were never taught, how do you monetize and turn your art or your craft or whatever it is that you're doing into a business? Music schools don't do that. Theater schools don't really do that. Dance programs don't do that. That honestly creates resentment when these people come out of these programs that they've been given these degrees and they haven't been told how to monetize their business. So then they are like, well, then I should just get the money from the government. The government should just give me money, or I should just have, you know, that guy over there, he's got too much money. I need his money. You know, it foments and creates, even if it's not aware of that it's doing so, it's creating socialism. It's creating socialism by mere fact of the omission of teaching people how to become strong business owners, even if they're an artist, even if they're a performer, a dancer, a musician, a playwright, that they still should have a capitalist mindset. So they're not taught how to be capitalists in a capitalist system, which is, to me, like, it's like teaching fish that they can't breathe the water because the water's all around them. I'm like, you're swimming in capitalist waters. You need to learn how to swim in capitalist waters.
Damn straight. That's my brother, Justin Peterson there, fellow entrepreneur. And, you know, the problems that I have in business have usually not come from the marketplace itself. There have been problems with like Facebook or maybe YouTube demonetizing me or things like that, and I can adapt to that. The one thing I can't that always cripples me though, and Dad the other day, I think he had to write a $16,000 check, is the IRS.
Oh my gosh!
Because it is every quarter, and as soon as we get ahead, and Stephanie and I were always looking at our bank books, and we're like, all right, this is going to be it. This is going to be the month. We're going to get ahead, right? We paid our bills. We got, you know, then, you know, the hospital bills and the baby and all this kind of stuff comes in, and then it's like, and then the IRS just takes every last penny of what you had, right?
Yeah, and I think I might have told you on your show a couple of weeks ago, I was like, people who don't live in their own business and have their own stuff, they don't feel the pain of that loss, because when you're working every day in an office situation, it's just sort of taken out. So it's like death by 1,000 cuts, where for us, it's not death by 1,000 cuts, it's death by getting your head chopped off. You know, it's like, it's dramatic.
Right. And listen, here's the thing. There's a very strong anti-capitalist movement happening on the right. And it's very much fomented by people who kind of like hew to the cultural movement of Pat Buchanan, right? The right-wing populists and stuff. And you'll hear them frequently doing things like supporting tariffs and stuff like that. And they'll say things like this, which sound profound, but are actually quite retarded and obnoxious. Here's Pat Buchanan from a dozen thousand years ago. Take a listen to this.
86 months of campaigning from Concord, New Hampshire to California. I came to know our country better than I have known it ever before in my life. And I gathered up memories that are going to be with me the rest of my days. It was that day-long ride through the great state of Georgia in a bus Vice President Bush himself had used in 1988, called Asphalt One. The ride ended in a 9 p.m. speech in a tiny town in southern Georgia called Fitzgerald. There were those workers at the James River paper mill in northern New Hampshire in a town called Groveton. Tough, hardy men. None of them would say a word to me as I came down the line, shaking their hands one by one. They were under threat of losing their jobs at Christmas. As I moved down the line, one tough fellow about my age just looked up and said to me, "Save our jobs." Then there was the legal secretary that I met at the Manchester airport on Christmas Day, who came running up to me and said, "Mr. Buchanan, I'm going to vote for you." And then she broke down weeping, and she said, "I've lost my job. I don't have any money, and they're going to take away my little girl. What am I going to do?" My friends, these people are our people. They don't read Adam Smith or Edmund Burke, but they come from the same schoolyards and the same playgrounds and towns as we came from. They share our beliefs and our convictions, our hopes and our dreams. These are the conservatives of the heart. They are our people.
Sounds beautiful, but pants shittingly retarded. And let me say why. They don't read Adam Smith or Edmund Burke. Well, that's their fucking problem that they don't read. Okay. They're conservatives of the heart. Well, that's your fucking problem because you're not a conservative of the brain too. I don't like people who feel their politics. Okay. You are obnoxious if you tell me, "Oh, and the soul, and I lost my jobs and all this kind of shit." It's like, listen, bitch, your boss can't afford to create a job for you because the government takes every fucking penny that he has, and he can't create a job for you, not because some immigrant is taking your job or because they're moving your job overseas. If they're moving your job overseas, it's because the government is making it impossible for asshole bosses like me and my brother. Now we are the bosses. We pay the taxes. We pay the motherfucking checks. I sign the dotted line. And if you have never signed on the back of a check, I'm sorry, but your opinion about the conservatives of the heart who haven't read Adam Smith or Edmund Burke and all that kind of shit, you are pants shittingly retarded. Read the economics. You can have an opinion. It's one thing to like not understand economics, right? But it is a crime to have a loud and vociferous opinion about economics while remaining in a state of ignorance, and to lift it up and to say they don't read John, and they think Thomas Jefferson is an opponent of Christianity, and they want to bring the Pope and and traditional Catholic values to the United States, and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, we are the bosses. The government is our enemy. It's not us. It's not the bosses, right? It's not because I buy shit from Amazon from China to get here in 2 days, because I can't buy the shit that I use to make this podcast. I can't make this show. I can't run that merch shop if I don't get shit from overseas. Okay? You can't make it. Some of the things I can buy here in the United States, and I'll do it, but you won't buy it because it's too expensive, and that's the government's fault. It's not the boss's fault. It's not the boss's fault. But these populists, they want to turn us into the enemy, the demons, the land barons and the landlords, and really a lot of times they mean Jews, right? But the people that they're talking about who own businesses who have to buy from overseas or take a plant overseas or go to Mexico, it's because the government. It's because of the IRS. They're the problem, not us.
And I wonder too how much their anecdotes are actually true. And I just want to say, You don't lose your child because you don't have enough money. That woman is losing her child probably because she's abusive to her child. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't just take your kid away because you lost your job. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, sorry for all the cursing, Hazel. My bad.
Yeah, luckily she's not talking yet.
I'm going to say this, and I'm like, what comes to my mind, there used to be a time when only the people who owned land would be the voters, because they had a stake in the success of their own enterprises, right? Like, the people who didn't have land, who didn't own anything, they didn't vote because they didn't have anything to look out for.
Right. Let's do that. Let's go back to that. It's not about women. Women can vote. You own land? You can vote. You own land. You own land and you own a business. Then you can have an opinion on things like tariffs and international trade, and you can talk about immigration and hiring immigrant labor and illegal immigrant labor and migrant labor and Lupe and Jose.
And this is why democracy is dumb.
That's right.
The opinion of one person who has much more education and business savvy is the same weight as the person who is like, drooling in their mother's basement. Like, these votes are equal. These are equal votes.
They're conservatives of the heart. They got big feelings, and they done lost their jobs and things, and we got to get the government to solve it because the government's been helping the black people with the welfares, and now we got to help the white people with the welfares. It's socialism, but it's for white people. Boo! 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 No offense, but it sounds like some getting commie gobbledygook. If you are annoyed by this because you're a right-wing populist, but you have not run away, I give you credit for letting me insult the modern American political movement today, which is very anti-intellectual, very Luddite, and reminds me of why I am a electoral college-loving elitist bastard, right? I'm on the side of the people when the elites are, raping children, and I'm on the side of the elites when the people who've never signed a check for employment ever in their life, or made a payroll check, or made FICA, or had to pay the workers' comp. When you've never had to do that, I'm on the side of the elites. That's when I'm on the side of the elites. So I'm on the side of right, no matter who says it.
I get a special tax just because I'm self-employed. Like, just because I'm self-employed, I have to pay a special tax.
We pay that. We pay the self-employment tax, right?
Amazing.
Talk about being carbon neutral. We don't get, you don't have to get in a car or go anywhere. You can do your job from home, but the left isn't going to give you a break. No. They still don't want to get your tax money. You still got to pay your self-employment tax into everything. But payroll taxes.
There are systems that are made to frustrate the ability of people to do business.
That's right.
Like you were saying.
I think
if cigarette taxes are meant to discourage people from smoking, what are income taxes supposed to discourage?
I think as a therapist, I should be exempt from this self-employment tax because I am mostly helping the people on the left. See, I am helping these people here rise up, become independent. So really, I should get a tax break.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear people's opinion. Listen, if you believe that we should have tariffs, if you're a business owner, right? If you're somebody who's actually signed payroll and you think that there should be tariffs, then I would ask you what business you might be in which case you might be in for example, an aluminum manufacturing company, in which case the tariff is going to help you because it's there to protect you, the crony. Boo. Boo to you. That's cronyism. That's not capitalism. Capitalism is that the plain fact of the matter is that there is no made in America 3D printed Buddhas coming out of forlibertyshop.com without a Chinese 3D printer for $100. Okay. You're just not going to get the level of dynamic economic activity that you get now. But listen, leftists are communists and socialists and they're economic retards, and you have to write them off and, beat them or burn them. They go up pretty good, as they say in Night of the Living Dead zombie world. But, but on the right, I shouldn't have to try and explain to a right-wing conservative Republican that free markets and limited government and fewer taxes are good for the most people, for everyone, not just, because what they're doing effectively is advocating for policies that are going to be for their cronies and acting like it's on behalf of the people. Capitalism is for the people. Capitalism is for people like Justin and myself, who, I'm trying to raise a family. Capitalism is for people. The international tariffs and things are going to prevent me from being able to buy the Japanese camera, the Japanese lens, the Malaysian, Taiwan GoPro that I got for all this kind of stuff to break all this happen for you today. It goes away, right? When the margins of profits, so you say, Austin, stop that economic activity. What they say is that the economic activity of the guy who does the backbreaking labor, that's what's important, not Austin, who's trying to start a business and grow a dynamic tech company in a rural town. You know what I mean?
Well, what
my job is
said is that the technician is more valuable than the entrepreneur, but you cannot have them one without the other. They coexist in an ecosystem. A technician has a specialized skill of knowing what one particular thing to do. The entrepreneur has a higher vista through which to see. I think, okay, I'm going to get philosophical and religious. Hold on to yourself. There's a reason in the Bible that all of these people, Moses, Jesus, I think it was Abraham, they all, when God took them up, he took them up into a high place, right? He put them up on a mountain because they needed to see a larger view of the world than just the sheep and the goats that they were hanging out with. Like, entrepreneurs need to be able to go up to higher vistas and see the longer and the bigger picture of what's going on, rather than, oh, the sheep are this, I got to do the sheep and I got to corral the sheep. We got a lot of sheep herders, Austin. We got a lot of people herding sheep, but we don't have a lot of people looking up in the high mountains to look at what's going on and having some vision and seeing what's going on.
Like Elon Musk, right?
Yes,
it's like it feels like, Justin, did you ever read any Ayn Rand?
No.
If I could, that's okay. If I could ever recommend one, don't watch the movie. If I could ever recommend, maybe do it as a book on tape or something like that, or take it in chunks, right? Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, I've read that.
We are living very much in, maybe get a cliff notes of it, Justin. We live in Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, where bureaucrats will prevent businesses from operating simply because they don't like the color of the product that they're making and things like that. We live in Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged to a large extent. In the gist of the novel is that all of the great men and great women of society, the greatest performers, the great entrepreneurs, the ones who can see on the vista, the Elon Musks, they go to a place called Gulch. And the saying during the novel is that John Galt, who creates a perpetual motion machine essentially to create infinite energy, rather than and when the socialists find out that he has it, of course they want to force him to give it to everybody for free, right? Rather than have him like profit from it. So all of the great entrepreneurs and great minds of the world go to Galt's Gulch. They retreat. And they stop the motor of the world, because the people who actually work, the people who actually create, it's not just the people who show up and swing a hammer, but the people who actually sign the paychecks, the entrepreneurs who are behind this economy. The majority of businesses in this country are small businesses, and small business owners are the backbone of this economy, right? And so all of those business owners and the people who are the productive class versus what she calls the parasite class, the productive sector versus the unproductive sector, which is the government and the nonprofit institutions, they go away. And when they do, the world collapses, the economy collapses, because they couldn't drain the wealth or the resources or the time or energy of the great men or women of society. It's stunningly elitist, stunningly anti-democratic, fascinating novel, beautiful novel. And it is coined phrases like run like hell from any man who tells you that money is the root of all evil. That is the sound of the leper's bell. It is the sound of the approaching looter. And that is what this society is. It's looters. Pat Buchanan may not understand, would reject that label, but he is a looter. Your tariffs are looting. You're looting me. You're looting me and Stephanie. You're looting people who are desperate to get goods because we can't get certain types of goods at certain prices here in the United States. You're looting us, right? You're looting the taxpayers who are already paying taxes on top of taxes, and you're paying more taxes. Taxation, of course, as we all know, is theft. But Justin, it's the end of the show, and I wanted to get into our secrets of how we were revolutionizing our businesses, because a lot of people
don't give the secrets away.
Well, yeah, see, that's the thing, is we've got secrets on secrets, and maybe it just sounds like we're not going to have time for it today. So maybe that's we'll keep our secrets until next week.
I can't believe Hazel behaved this whole time. That's amazing.
She's Peterson. She's good. She knows how to be good.
She's a good child. She's a beautiful child.
As long as she had that screen behind her there, she was happy.
So I guess you're going to see your little baby niece at Christmas, Justin?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I can see her on the video chat anytime.
I know, but you got to smell the baby. She smells good. She's delicious.
She's so delicious.
She is delicious. Justin, we love you very much. Is there anything you want to tell our audience, say, before we go?
My Substack comes out at 10 o'clock. I write about voice. That's what I do. I'm a voice specialist. I'm a singing coach. I have a Substack at justinpeterson.substack.com. It comes out every Friday at 10 for free, no cost. You can support my work for $8 a month, or you can pay for a year-long membership of $80 to keep me writing about vocal technique in the arts. There are a lot of us out here who are, in the parallel economy, as it were, trying to make a difference in our communities and bettering the lives of other people. I'm just doing it through music. So there you go.
Love you, brother.
Love you.
Love you too.
Thanks very much for tuning in to the Wake Up America show. That's my brother, Justin Peterson. Give him another round of applause as he goes out. Bye, Justin. Boy, we probably offended a lot of people today, didn't we, Steffi? Remember Kike earlier, and then Justin, and then pants shitting retarded, all that kind of stuff. I mean, today was a very offensive Wake Up America show. Oops, sorry, guys.
We're lucky that we have a lot of bad people watching the show because we've got quite a large audience.
There's 2,000.
They must agree with all the things we're saying.
There's 2,800 people over on X this morning, and they hate my guts now. Hey, if you want to help other people, tell them the truth. If you want to help yourself, lie to them. And I'd rather just tell the truth. So just don't get mad at me. If you tell them the truth, you have to make them laugh or else they'll kill you. But hopefully nobody tries to kill me today. The Wake Up America show brought to you in part by viewers and listeners like you. As you exit through the Grift Shop. That's at forlibertyshop.com. And we've still got a little bit of time to get on the Peterson family Christmas card list. $17.76 a month gets you in. You get the backstage pass. You get the Peterson family Christmas card. You get the 20% discount at forlibertyshop.com. And you get your name in the halls of the pantheon of the gods of liberty.
WakeUpAmericaShow.com/support. That's where you can become a 1776 supporter.
We love you guys. Thanks so much for all your support. It's been a rough week. It's been for us just physically, but it's also been a great week. We launched the For Liberty Network, and the shows are going to be great. Culture Rump, they're going to get better and better. Don't worry about those Liberty Tonight boys. They're going to solve all those problems. We'll get it fixed out next week. Liberty Tonight's going to be great. Brian and Jordan, a lot of jitters. Daniela did fantastic this week.
Oh, if I had my own show, I would be sweating profusely and barely able to talk. I'd be hyperventilating. It's really hard to talk by yourself for 2 hours.
Well, here it is, and we're doing it, live Monday through Friday, 5 days a week.
I can only do it because I have a partner. I need somebody else. I could never do it alone.
Well, I'm the boss. No tariffs, please.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Monday right here on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Be free.
The Wake Up America show's bonus content. Today we consider how the New York Times DI wake up is better late than never. It seems the New York Times is finally acknowledging a hard truth about DI policies. These initiatives, aimed at fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion, often yield the opposite effect, leading to unintended negative outcomes. The University of Michigan serves as a prominent example. With the largest DEI bureaucracy among major public universities, it inadvertently nurtures a culture of grievance. This has heightened racial tensions and deepened divisions on campus, affecting overall morale. The campus atmosphere has reportedly deteriorated, becoming less inclusive. Students have fewer interactions with peers from different racial, religious, or political backgrounds, contrary to DEI's supposed goals. When every comment risks scrutiny through DEI's bureaucratic lens, individuals naturally retreat to familiar circles. The fear of being labeled as an oppressor or oppressed stifles genuine interaction and diversity. Ironically, DEI policies seem to harm those they intend to support. Minority students report diminished feelings of value, belonging, and personal growth since the university's DEI initiatives began. The negative impact of DEI extends beyond students. A 2022 survey revealed a decline in positive campus climate perceptions among students and faculty, undermining the sense of belonging. The media, particularly left-leaning outlets, have historically shied away from criticizing DEI. The Times' recent article could indicate a shift in this narrative. However, the New York Times is late in acknowledging these issues. Other voices have long criticized DEI as a costly and divisive endeavor that fails to deliver its promises. Legislative efforts against DEI have gained momentum. Many states have introduced measures to curb or eliminate DEI initiatives, reflecting growing public and political dissatisfaction. In the corporate world, giants like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla have significantly reduced or entirely dismantled their DEI departments. They recognize DEI as an expensive and polarizing strategy. The Times' awakening to DEI's flaws is a welcome development, albeit delayed. It could signal a turning point in addressing the fundamental issues with DEI policies. The hope is that this newfound awareness will catalyze broader reconsideration and reform of DEI practices across institutions. Ultimately, the aim should be to foster environments that genuinely promote diversity and inclusion without deepening divisions or fostering resentment. The Times article might inspire other media outlets to explore these complex dynamics and encourage more balanced discussions about DEI's real-world impact. As awareness grows, institutions might adopt more effective strategies that truly support diversity and inclusion, benefiting everyone involved. If this marks the beginning of a broader reassessment, it could eventually lead to the dismantling of ineffective DEI structures. The focus should shift towards creating meaningful change that aligns with the original ideals of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hopefully, this is a step towards bridging divides, fostering understanding, and building genuine community across differences. In conclusion, better late than never, the New York Times recognition of DEI's flaws might just be what's needed to spark a more constructive dialogue.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!